Hi guys. Today we will talk about limits and what it is, and we have three main topics to talk about: what it is, one-sided limit, and two-sided limits, and what it would look like from the graph. So limit is the concept of a function approaching a certain value. And so this is our example here. We have f of x function, and it's all of these things. It is a function, number one, because it passes the vertical line test over here, even though it is not continuous right there, but it's still a function. Okay, but we are not talking about functions here. We're talking about limits and how the limit is the concept of approaching a certain value. So let's say that we're talking about the limit as x approaches -5 of f of x. So if we're approaching from the left, we go over here and we're approaching from the left. This is -5. This is our limit right here, approaching from the left. And the value would be 6 approaching from the left. But then if we're approaching from the right, so approaching -5 from the right, it would be that one right there. So it will be a different value. It will be 9. Okay? But we will give you an example when we get there. So right then and there, in those 30 seconds, I was able to cover a couple of topics. So the limit is the concept of a function approaching a certain value. So it doesn't matter what the value is, the question is going to give you. You just need to think about approaching that number where you get really, really close to that number, but not really that number. And then the one-sided limit is when a function approaches a different value from the left than it does from the right. So, and that's just a little quick example I just gave you when we were approaching -5. From the left is a different value than when you were approaching from the right there. Okay, so the notation for this is, so the way we note limit from the left, so limit as x approaches the constant, whatever number that is. From the left, you have the little minus right above c. I wrote too big. It should have been a subscript. It's fine, subscription of f of x. So the way you read the limit as x approaches c from the left of f of x. And then the limit approaching from the right, you have the limit as x approaches c from the right. So there's a little plus sign right there of f of x. Okay, again, the limit as x approaches c from the right of f of x. What does it look like? Let's say we have this function here. My question is, find the limit as x approaches 9 from the left of f of x. So that's the one-sided limit right there. So the limit as x approaches 9 from the left. So 9 is right there. So we are approaching from the left. The left is coming from that way. So the limit is that one. So 2. And then notice that if we find the limit as x approaches 9 from the right of f of x, we're going to end up having a different value. I'll just use a different color. So approaching from the right, we're approaching from the right here. As the limit as x approaches 9 from the right of f of x. So we're approaching from the right, and it's that right there. It's 0. You can barely notice a difference, but I used pinkish right here for the right, and I used red right there approaching from the left. Now, if we're trying to talk about a two-sided limit, and that question will come up quite often. If the limit exists, yes or no, and what is it? So a two-sided limit exists only if both left and right limits exist and are equal. So using the example that we just did, just because it's right there. So if we were to decide if the limit as x approaches 9 of f of x, it doesn't exist because we have two different values right here. Approaching from the left is different than when you approach it from the right. So the limit as x approaches 9 of f of x does not exist because they're not the same. Okay? Now let's say that we're looking for limit as x approaches, let's see, I don't know, 5 of f of x. Okay? In order for the two-sided limit to exist, they have to be the same. And in this case, when you're approaching 5, this is just the f of x. This is the value of a function. Okay? This is not the limit. This is just the value of a function. Don't get carried away with that one. So the limit as x approaches 5 from the left is 0. From the right is also 0. Therefore, the limit as x approaches 5 of f of x is 0 because it's the same value approaching from both directions. I will see you next time.